Well, guys, we are a few people to get into the chat here, and it might take a little bit because I was behind schedule as usual. But I see a few people popped in here. Hi, guys. How are you? Let us know who's here, what you're up to, and we'll get moving here. A few more people. I see Chase Kelly's first one to pop in here. How are you, Chase? Good to see you. I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. We'll let a few other people get in. I jumped right in instead of setting it up. How this works, you set things up on a live chat early. You kind of put it out there so people can see and they jump in. But we chucked it out there and we're ready to go. So bingo, party starts now. Yeah, you're right. It's another Wednesday. I hope all of you are surviving this cold snap we've had up here. We've been living with it for a couple weeks now. What was supposed to be a couple days turned into about the second week now. Now, it finally warmed up today, but in my business, when we know snow is coming, we have to move a couple hundred cars. We put them all inside. We got to plow and clean them off and put them back out on display and all that good stuff. And yeah, I'm about sick of it, done with it. But up here, there's always a couple weeks a year we get into that, 10 below, 20 below, 30 below without wind chill. And that goes on for 2-3 weeks. And then it gets better. It's the kind of weather where you can literally take that cup of boiling water and toss it off in the air, and it turns to snow instantly. But hopefully we're past that now. It was almost 30 today, which was nice. And got out and about, made a couple stops at some local gun shops I'll tell you about, give you a little news about what's going on around town and what I notice as I'm out and about. We are going to talk about some of the plans Mr. Biden brought out this week with a statement from the White House about what they plan on doing with gun control, and it's a bit scary. A couple other bills, too, that just came out that are a bit scary, too. One is calling basically for a full-on gun registration. I'll tell you about that. And of course, they don't call it that. It's hidden in there, but we'll tell you what the ramifications are with that. And then today, of course, one of my favorite people in the world unfortunately passed away, Rush Limbaugh. We'll get into it, but right now I'm just going to say that's one of the few people in this world that there literally is no replacement for. There's nobody that can step in. Radio stars from time to time have hosts that will come on, fill in for them while they're on vacation, etc. Well, anybody can do that, I guess. But again, it's called filling in. There is no replacement for Rush Limbaugh. The effect that he's had on not only the radio, but conservatism in general, I don't know that there's anyone else ever that has affected conservatism, how people view it, what they think of it, and frankly, the vote, the party, the Republican Party, everything as much as Rush Limbaugh has. So we're going to get a little deeper into that and talk about it. Maybe you guys have some ideas of, who the runner-up is. I know I do. I have one, but I don't see him as a replacement. I see him as an additional person, somebody that also makes a mark on conservatism and conservative news radio. So we'll get into that. I got to get a coffee sponsor for this show. What do you think? Got to stay away from a couple of them, but got to get a coffee sponsor. This was originally going to be Coffee and Kalashnikovs, right? I guess we should still call it that, because that's kind of the main focus. We get away from it, but there's just so much going on in the news right now and just everyday life that I feel, affects our favorite hobby, guns and firearms and all that I need to talk about it. But that's how important firearms are, right? They affect every part of our lives in one way or another, it seems, in a lot of ways. So, the gun ban's coming down. Joe Biden's gun bans, the passing of Rush Limbaugh, what I found at some of the shops, and what's going on around town. And that'll probably get us through a couple hours at least, I would think. Let's see who's here. No One Big Bear. Bingo party starts now. Scott Steele. What's up, Chris? Man, there's a lot up. I wish there was less up. Don't you wish for once we could just drop our guard, kind of go on about our business, go to the range, enjoy shooting, practice, training, whatever, collecting, buying, purchasing, adding to our collections, instead of constantly having to worry about all this extraneous crap that they push on us. I just wish a month off would be nice, wouldn't it? Where we could just effectively go on to a vacation, right? But it doesn't happen. And even if it did, it's still, we shouldn't lay back, but it would be nice, right? Michael Wendenen, have 10 inches on the ground here in West Tennessee and cold. Well, we've been kind of planning a move to Tennessee for quite a while. So we will see what comes of that. Interesting state. Love that state. I fear a little bit that we've kind of missed the deals down there, that, it was cheap and 10 years passes in the blink of an eye. And I should have bought back then and I didn't. But, now prices are up. It seems like everybody's going there. And when everybody heads for a state, what happens? It's all these people moving from liberal states. They move down there, and unfortunately, they bring the same voting habits with them. There's a guy out there making T-shirts for people in Texas that say, "Don't California me, bro." And people in Florida are wearing T-shirts that say, "Don't New York me, bro." And there's a lot to be said for that. So maybe Tennessee should be, "Hey, don't Chicago me, bro." I'm from Chicago originally, born and raised, but no longer, thank God. But yeah, that's what's happening. But hopefully we get down to Tennessee. Didn't get notification. I sent out a quick message on YouTube, but I didn't send anything out on Facebook or anything else, and I went right into it. I didn't do the notification on the actual stream, so sorry. I was minutes into it. I was taking some notes and doing some things, and got away from me. Dylan Bright, he's here in the house. Joe, hooray, the home of Jack Daniels, Tennessee. Yes, you can do the whiskey tour or whiskey trail down there, I guess. And I think Kentucky has the bourbon trail. Now, bourbon is my choice of whiskey, always has been, and I used to indulge in it quite heavily. Enjoyed myself a whole lot. And these days, not so much. I just don't have it in me anymore. But it's not to say I don't enjoy a good bourbon. I do. I really do. It's just now you have one and you feel kind of crappy. You have two, you got a headache, and three, I'm not even thinking about it. But to sip on a little here and there, not too bad. Good stuff. I still enjoy the taste. Brastard's here, 762. Good to see you here, brother. Let's see. It's because we just take it from a bully and never fight back and enforce the 2A. Nobody is willing to do what needs to be done to enforce it. That's correct. We're always playing catch up, right? We're always getting punched in the face, and the plans we did have go right out the window, right? It's time we make some moves. It's time we introduce some legislation. Do what it takes to get in there. Mike is in the house. What's up, brother? How are you? I'm glad to see you here early. You must be done with your chores, I'll just say. Keep you a little incognito here. Joe Morgan, me too, enjoyed booze a whole lot and has been not doing it much anymore. There's nothing good ever came of alcohol, I guess. Well, I don't know. I got a few good stories, so I won't go that far, but a lot of people say that. Just everything in moderation, right? So I caught a new piece of legislation that came down the pipe today. They're going to try and introduce, I think it's a new bill 1005. And effectively, it's, it could be construed as a gun registration. Right now, when you fill out a firearms form to do a NICS check, they have to get rid of it technically within 24 hours, right? And the information. And this bill wants them to keep it for a minimum of 90 days. The problem with it, from what I understand, is that there's no maximum. So effectively, yeah, they have to keep it for a minimum of 90 days, but it doesn't say when they could get rid of that information. And if someone is storing that information, it is what? A gun registration, right? It says who it is, where they are, what they bought, and when they bought it. That information does not need to be out there and shouldn't be out there. It's protection for all of us. And it's got to make you wonder a little bit why they redesigned that federal form where all the information is right on the front page of it. It used to be you had to open it up to get the information on the firearm itself. Well, now it's right on the front. And every time this year, since January 1st or whenever they brought out the new form, I think some shops had it early, started using it, but not sure if they were supposed to. But every time I fill that form out and it's changed and all that information is up there, it burns my ass every time I look at that thing. It's a terrible thing. We got to do it in the first place, if we follow the Constitution, we'd be having firearms mailed to us through the Sears catalog if that still existed. I'd like to take a look. I'd like to find some of the old Sears catalogs, go through them. They used to have several house brands. I remember as a kid, like Ted Williams, the baseball player. He was a house brand. A lot. I think I still have laying around somewhere a couple fishing poles, Ted Williams fishing poles and reels. I'm not sure if they put his name on guns, but they always had a house brand. And there were several different manufacturers, I think, that made guns for Sears. Pretty sure they put Sears Roebuck, plain old Sears Roebuck on a few of them. And I want to say maybe Savage made some for them. A few other smaller makers. The shotguns, I know for sure they had a house brand. Some of the other stuff, I'm not too sure. But anyways, this new bill, yeah, that's effectively it. And it's a good example of, while we're all paying attention to the bigger stuff, they try to sneak this other stuff in the side. And, you got to be careful where your attention is drawn to. And everybody says, well, it's a given this stuff's going to pass. They got the presidency, they got the House, they got the Senate. Well, there's still the filibuster. So, maybe we hold on there. But it's going to be a scary trip, guys. And you have to be calling. Even if your state or your representatives or your senators are Democrats and you think, well, that's just the way they vote. They vote down party lines. There's no hope. You still need to call them. Maybe I've heard people say, call it as a Democrat. Tell them you're a Democrat and say, you know what, I'm a Democrat, but I believe in the Second Amendment. I own firearms. And if you vote this way, I'm not voting for you. What's to stop you from doing that? Maybe that'll wake them up a little bit. I don't know. But certainly worth a try. If you want to be 100% truthful, tell them who you are, and what you believe. Enough people making enough noise is what tends to stop these things. And we certainly need to make noise. So get out there and do what you can. Nothing is too little, and nothing is enough. So whatever you do helps the cause. Just be doing it every day. Every day. Let's talk about Biden's plan. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not going to read it to you. You guys have seen it all over 100 other videos, including my good friend 28. Unfortunately, have focused a lot on the Second Amendment, but I don't intend this stream to go that way. It's just so forefront in the news today that I feel we have to cover it, and to do my part to bring it to you guys. While I don't do it anywhere near the job he does, whatever little bit and wisdom I can impart and bring to you, and at least make you aware to dig a little deeper, to get out there and look into these things. I feel at least I'm doing my part there. But the live stream here is going to be more about gear and industry news and things like that. My thoughts on different products, things like that. And I'd like it to go that way. It's just there's so much right now that we can't we can't avoid it. It's everywhere. You turn right, you turn left, and you're slammed in the face with something new. But that being said, the gist of Mr. Biden's gun plan is, I just shake my head, and next week, I think I'm going to pull up some of the parts where they go through some of the definitions of some of these firearms and go through them, because to read them, if you guys have been involved, and most of you here are involved some way, something, it's your hobby, you have at least a good working knowledge of things. When you look at the way they describe some of these features and definitions of different things, it's laughable. It's just laughable. It's like when they were interviewing Joe Biden in that factory, and the guy kind of went toe to toe with them, and he called it an AR-14. That's just not the usual Biden, faux pas media screw up. That's, he doesn't know. He literally doesn't know. And when people are making laws and legislation, writing all this, and they don't have the most basic common working knowledge of it, who are you to be telling me what things I can and cannot have when you don't even understand the basics of them? You don't understand how they work. You don't understand what they do, what these features are. None of it. It's the equivalent of calling it a thingamajig, right? The legal definition of thingamajig. Your Honor, this thingamajig over here is, we usually see it as part of a muffler bearing, and if we had the hijack ejaculators in here, that's how they sound, right? They have no clue. They don't know if something's, they like to always say, oh, it makes it more deadly, or, how about something maybe, even a scope, let's say, that doesn't make a gun more accurate. It allows you to shoot accurately, perhaps, but it doesn't intrinsically make a weapon more accurate. And that's just one example. I mean, they go into just craziness. So anyhow, the basics of it were in his White House release that he sent out from the White House, and they do these releases on the internet. And he used the anniversary of the Parkland shooting 3 years ago to, of course, launch this, because why not, right? We have to prey on people's emotions when we do this, and they haven't had a good tragedy in a while, and maybe they drum them up. I don't know. Oh, did I say that? I don't know. You know what I mean by that? There's some people that believe differently. I'm not saying I do. Just say some people believe that some of these tragedies are concocted by the powers that be. But anyways, you read through it, and it says the Parkland students and so many young people across the country who have experienced gun violence are carrying forward the history of the American journey. It is the history written by young people in each generation who's challenged prevailing dogma to demand a simple truth: we can do better, and we will. So you got to bring the children into it, and the old people. Somehow that tugs on the heartstrings of America, and somehow makes it more important, right? So they always have to bring the youth into it. They say this administration will not wait for the next mass shooting to heed that call. We will take action to end our epidemic of gun violence. Epidemics, okay? So 2000, here, I got a couple of statistics I borrowed from another video, but you can look them up. They're FBI statistics. Firearm deaths per 100,000 people in 1974. How many do you think? 16%. 16% of people died by firearm deaths out of 100,000 people in 1974. We get to 2020. Now, keep in mind, population's larger. There's more guns per capita. 2020 was a banner year for gun sales, right? And 2022 is kicking off even better. But with all these new guns, all these new gun owners out there, the more NICS checks than ever, right? Well, per 100,000 people, guess what? The death rate by firearms is only 12%. It's down 4% from 1974. Man, I was a youngster at grammar school, right? And if you guys listen to the channel or my streams, you've heard me tell the story about carrying my shotgun into school to go pheasant hunting after school. So those were the times, right? Nobody feared guns. You went to any rural high school, and half the kids' pickup trucks out in the parking lot had guns in the gun rack, or like I did, I carried it right in the front door, kept it safekeeping in my locker, right? And yet the gun deaths were 16% per 100,000. Now we're 4% lower, but there's this staggering fear of this. My poor children, they shouldn't have to fear going to school and dying in school. Well, I tell you what, in 1974, I never thought about it. Nobody thought about it. And I guess by statistics, 4% lower. First of all, these are ridiculously low rates when I get further into them. But 12%, we shouldn't even be thinking about them. Our children shouldn't be scared of these things. Why are they? Because of the news media and how they push it all, how hard they push it, and the emotions they bring into it, and the terms they use, which we'll get into a little bit here. But think about that, guys. Down 4% with... is it twice the amount of firearms in public hands? I don't know. I mean, it's staggering the amount of firearms that are in America. And based off that, compared to most countries, our firearm deaths are ridiculously low. Let's talk about that for a minute. So you got 12 and 16% per 100,000. But did you know that most of those firearm deaths, 65, 70% of them, are suicides? Now, you take that out of there, and the 30% roughly that's left, those can directly be correlated to two things: gang violence and drugs. So if you're not killing yourself and you're not involved in the drug trade or a gang member, you got very little to fear. Matter of fact, and then they bring the rest of the terminology into it. Let me pull this back up here so I can read it to you. How the hell did I lose it here? It's hard running this stuff, guys. I'm getting used to it, so bear with me here a little bit. I hope you guys are seeing a difference in my stream. I got new internet this week, and so far it's enabled me to, instead of a let's say a 15-minute YouTube video, used to take me, I don't know, 15 minutes would probably take an hour and a half to upload. Now it takes me about 4 minutes. So it's screaming. I got that new internet that Tesla is doing a beta test on. Our area is part of the beta test. It's called Starlink, and it's like NASA speeds or something, but it's crazy. So hopefully my picture and sound is looking better. Let me know in the comments if it is. Anyhow, getting back to this. So we talked about the terms they use, the epidemic of gun violence. There is no epidemic. It's not an epidemic. So we will take action to end our epidemic of gun violence and make our schools and communities safer. Today, I am calling on Congress to enact common sense gun law reforms. Common sense. So why do they use that term common sense? It's to shame you. If you don't agree with them, you're just stupid. You're stupid. These are so common sense that if you don't believe in this and follow what we're saying here, you must be just stupid. That's what you are. You're stupid. You don't go along with us. We shouldn't even bother with you. You're so dumb. They shame you guys. They're shaming you. And that's what they do with everything, right? It's not just our gun laws. So common sense gun law reforms, including requiring background checks on all gun sales, banning assault weapons, and high-capacity magazines. Number one, requiring background checks. What are they implying there? That these crimes, these shootings, these crimes against children are the people that did them didn't go through a background check. They just got these weapons. Assault weapons. There's no such thing as an assault rifle. And if there was, those are military weapons. They're not what we have. What else? High-capacity magazines. I don't own it. Well, I do own a couple of those, I guess, but most of what I own are standard capacity mags. I do have a couple drum mags, but that's besides the point. Let's see. High-capacity magazines and eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on our streets. Weapons of war. That one really pisses me off. Weapons of war. I wish I could own weapons of war. I should be able to own weapons of war. If it wasn't for the NFA, I'd own rooms full of them if I could. We should be able to own exactly what our military has, exactly what they have. But I don't own any weapon of war. My AK-47s, my AR-15s, my FALs, my Garands, my 1911s, none of those are weapons of war. They are civilian models of sporting rifles, right? They're semi-automatic, number one. There is no full automatic fire. They may simulate a weapon of war. They may look kind of like them. Matter of fact, there's an entire industry that has sprung up over it. And the clones, right? Everybody's building clones of this AR and that AR, an entire industry. So, no, I don't own any weapons of war. I own modern sporting rifles, sure. I own an AR-15, which is exactly that. That's the civilian designation for an M16, right? But no, I don't own anything approaching what our military has. But they'll continue to use that phrase. Why? Because it just instills fear in the hearts of good parents everywhere. It's a joke. And they all use it. This weapons of war thing sprung up about a year ago. And the day it came out, I think anybody that's into guns noticed it. If you were in the room and the TV was on and you heard them say weapons of war, you kind of turned around, looked at the screen, and then you flipped through the channel and you heard weapons of war, weapons of war, weapons of war. They get the same talking points. They must send out a bulletin every morning with the talking points and catchphrases to use, But that's one of them. I can't stand that. I wish we had weapons of war. We should be. I agree with them. We should be able to have them. We should be able to have them. So where were we here? Eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on the streets. Let's see, knowingly. Yes, they sell firearms. They certainly do. That's what they started their company for, right? Yeah, they sell weapons, just like Ford Motor Company sells cars, and Kleenex makes tissue, and everybody else, right? But what they're referring to here is a little, I guess most people don't know the actual name of it, but it's the Protection of Lawful Commerce. What is it? Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act. That's what it was called. Now, it was originally, they originally passed this because there were so many individuals, companies, organizations suing gun manufacturers over, I don't know if they were, I guess you'd call them wrongful death suits, injury suits, this and that. They were suing them. And it finally got so out of hand. There were so many of these suits that these gun manufacturers were forced to defend that they passed this law, right? No other industry has this happen to them. They passed this Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, and it protects the gun companies from these suits. You know, you take a car manufacturer, for instance. I own a Mercedes-Benz. I jump in my car, I head to the local bar, and I slam down a good old Fifth of Kentucky bourbon. I jump in the car, and I'm headed home, and I'm going to decide how fast it goes. And I'm doing 120, and I take out a nun, 6 teachers, 3 kids, and the local priest, right? Park it in my driveway, go in and go to bed. They can't sue Mercedes-Benz for what I chose to do, right? They can't. Doesn't make sense. Wasn't the car's fault. Car didn't know who was driving, how much they had to drink. Nothing, right? Nobody would ever think of suing a car company over something like that. But they certainly will sue a gun manufacturer. And it's partially to blame for what happened to Remington, you know, and they want to get rid of that. Well, what happens when you get rid of it? Those lawsuits will come hot and heavy, one after the other, and it will effectively quash the entire gun industry. They want to get rid of it, 100% get rid of it. So, hey, why not open it wide up, right? Let them sue. That's what good old Joey Boy wants to do. He wants to open it up to all those lawsuits. Guys, these are just a few things here that really bother me. You know, he also he's calling for an assault weapon ban. He's calling for one. You know, we talked about this, and I got from, you know, maybe less conservative or middle of the road people, or people on the left that I knew of, don't worry about it. They're not going to pay. They're not taking your guns. Not taking your guns. And I told them, I said, how can you say that? What do you mean? They've come out and said, we are coming for your guns. For the first time in history, they stood on stage during the primaries and said, we are going to take away your guns. Beto O'Rourke said, we're coming for your AK-47. I sound like them now. AR-47 and AK-15. They said, we're coming for them, right? They said, no ifs, ands, or buts. They're not hiding it anymore. Just like they call themselves socialists now. You know, 20 years ago, if you heard that, they'd be run out on a rail. They wouldn't even make it. They wouldn't get halfway into the primary. Today, you can say you're a socialist, and it's not a problem. You can say, I'm going to take away your guns, and we don't believe them. For those of you that may be in here, because there's Democrats that like guns, right? For those of you that may be in here and were the ones saying, don't worry about it, they're not going to take your guns. Well, I'm telling I told you so right now. I'm saying it right now. You're a bunch of idiots if you didn't believe it. Stone cold idiots. I thought that then, and I'll say it now. So if you didn't like it, unsubscribe. Great. I don't care. Yeah, it's unbelievable. They're not going to take it away. Yeah, that's what you thought when Obama was in. Yeah, well, Obama wasn't in quite the same situation, right? And yeah, I know there's guys out there saying, well, look what Trump did. Well, okay, but I get it. But it's nowhere near the same. I'd take any Republican right now over what's going on. This is just stone cold ridiculous what's going on out there right now. So to those of you that said that, yeah, I told you so. I hope you're happy with it. I hope you're happy with the taxes. Maybe you worked on a pipeline and you voted for them. I'm happy for you. Enjoy it. Soak it up. That's all I'm going to tell you. Yeah, okay, I'm getting off on a tangent here. So let's run back to the comments here real quick and take a look around, see who's still in here. I'm going to back up a little bit. God, I know what these guys are talking about now, trying to follow these comments. What a pain. Joe, man, holy cow, you can type. This man is dominating the comments. Mike McGrath, CMMG Banshee 9mm versus AR-15 Shorty 5.56 for a vehicle gun. What are your thoughts? For a vehicle? You ever fire a rifle with the muzzle inside a vehicle? I did not do the firing, but I was in a vehicle when one went off with the muzzle inside of it, a rifle caliber. Holy moly. Yeah, I don't ever want to do that again. If you're talking about how compact they are, easy to handle in a vehicle, okay, either one will work. If you're talking about, maybe the sound, if it's inside or the barrel's even close to being inside, the 9 would be better. But you know what? I'm in the camp of, okay, you got pistol caliber carbines, right? If I'm going to a carbine, I'm going with a rifle caliber. Pistol, rifle, and stay out of the middle ground. Just my thoughts. They are fun. I give you that. But in real use, if you're going to be doing that, and they're both the same length, same everything, why not fight with a rifle? Always. Just my thoughts. Including moderation. I don't know what that was about. Probably when we were talking about bourbon and whiskey. Shorty 5.56 sucks with no ear pro. Exactly what I was saying. Dude, you have no idea. Even out in the wide open, I think I said last week about when I forgot ear pro while filming a video on my mini Draco. Holy Christ. My left ear to this day is permanently damaged because of it. Terrible. And that was 7.62. Yeah. Poor conservative made it in. Holy Christ. Watch out for that Micah Young guy. He's a trouble. I know. He is. No, everywhere he goes creates problems. Kind of like him, though. I don't know. He's a good dude. He hasn't caused many problems lately that I can speak of. Mike McGrath. Is that Mike McGrath Reptiles? That's not who I'm thinking it is. Brass, I'm definitely leaning toward the Banshee, not only ballistically and hard barrier penetration, but also I question the dwell time and reliability of the 5.56 shorties. I'll tell you this, reliability-wise, I have not had an issue on any of my 10.5-inch or 11.5-inch guns at all. They just run. I will say if you're talking about going shorter than that, like 7.5 or something like that, yeah, you're losing so much ballistically. I mean, even at 10.5, 11.5 inches, which I think 11.5 is the minimum where you're taking most advantage of, you're losing so much. The feet per second and the drop at 300 yards over a 20-inch barrel or an 18-inch barrel or even a 16-inch barrel is just monstrous, like 3 feet or something out at 300 yards. It's crazy. Don't get me wrong. I love them. I think they're cooler than hell. I love a 10.5 inch, 11.5 inch gun. Just to me, perfect size. And let's face it, I think most gunfights happen within 150, well under 150 yards, the majority of them. But to take advantage of that 5.56 round, you need that speed to cause the fragmentation. So what's the solution? 7.62. That's the solution. AK. Heavy hitters. None of this baby game stuff. Let's see. That'll stir something up. If some big shooting goes down, they will pass. Oh, absolutely, they will pass it. They're going to bed, and in their prayers, they're asking for it. I promise you. But hey, they could always just come up with one somehow, some way. I'm sure. They're like Hollywood. They can have a sound stage set up and done no time, right? The left lies constantly. It's time we do unreasonable things too. If you think about it, everything they do is unreasonable in a lot of ways. But you know what? We've always taken the higher road. We do. We're polite. We talked about that last week, the political correctness thing, and how it silences. And we don't want to do that. I don't. Using that term, what was the term? Let's see the exact unreasonable thing. That's a little borderline to me. It just sounds a bit sketchy. I might skirt that one a little bit. Guys, there's a difference between doing the right thing and just maybe not doing it gentlemanly, let's say. You don't have to be a gentleman all the time, right? But we certainly want to be ethical and God-fearing and all those other good things that go along with it. That's what makes us who we are. I don't want to ever have to go down a road like that. That's what we're fighting. This is essentially, I say this all the time, and I hear more and more people saying it. My mother was just saying it the other day, and that's probably where I got it from. But I heard 2A say it. I've heard just a ton of people. This is what it breaks down to is a fight against good and evil. Period. End of story. That's what it is. But I would be willing to bet that just about every side and every battle or every political fight throughout history, both sides probably see themselves as the right, I would assume. But then there's the truth. So, somewhere there and there. Let's see. Watch out for the omnibus bills that they will slam through. Absolutely. We know that's coming. Thank God there's, enough people watching that everything gets caught. We just have to make sure that it sees the light of day and people hear about it, know what's in there. Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth? Is that even a question? Come on. David Lee. Jesus. David Lee's my hero. Love that guy. Bit kooky today, but I still like him. Eat 'em and Smile, one of the best albums ever produced on the planet. Some of the best music ever laid down. The people on that album, Billy Sheehan, Steve Vai, David Lee Roth, on it. Just, I always say, and I haven't read the whole book yet. My brother bought me this really interesting book on Van Halen. I just haven't had time to read it. But David Lee Roth, when he left the band, that Eat 'em and Smile album was just, him giving him a little this back, afterwards. He assembled what could be construed as one of the best, most talented group of musicians on the planet, both that play live and in the studio, just phenomenal musicians. and the songwriting, everything. If every song on that album is just so hot. Oh my God, love that album. So yeah, David Lee Roth all the way. Let's see what else is in here. Chase Kelly, more if not all states need to get in on passing their own laws and policies to ignore unconstitutional orders, maintain states' power, and stop federal level infringement attempts. Absolutely. Absolutely. Less federal power, more to the states, always. Always. What they are doing is anti-gun racism. Black rifles matter. All rifles matter, damn it. And that's, and I'm not saying, Joe, that you're doing this, but that's what it comes down to. We have to get away from the constant infighting. You know, some guys, oh, it's a FUD thing, or it's a boomer thing, or it's these tactical guys, or whatever. No, guys, it's all of us. You know, another channel I was reading in the comments, they were talking about the NRA's bankruptcy, and half the guys are, screw the NRA, and I wouldn't give them this, and look at that, what they're doing. And the other guys are, hey, we need the NRA. They're the loudest voice out there and the biggest and baddest and all of that. And you know what, guys? I don't care what side you're on. I don't care if you're rah NRA or take their heads off or whatever. I don't care what your thought is on that. I just know that all of us have to be involved. Forget that little crap. Forget that little crap. What I believe about the NRA is going to be different than what you believe, or the next channel, or whatever. It's all of us. So we all have to forget about that garbage. Who cares? And that's all it is. It's noise. We have to have that voice that's heard above the noise or through the noise, right? So some of that stuff that's everybody likes to argue about, that's this touchstone for things. Just let's stay away from it for right now, and let's all try and concentrate on the goal. Let's see. I called the Parkland thing. You did. Number one bugbear, agree 100%. Joe Morgan, yeah, I like that softball game that ended badly on the same day as the reciprocity vote. Yeah, amazing on that. It's just timing and coincidence. You got to wonder on some of this stuff, right? The only thing I'm afraid of is being silenced, and the tech companies are doing it. Yeah, one day we'll all be silenced, guys, all of us, this channel included. We have to try to stay ahead of it as much as we can, but boy, it seems like we're up against a lot of powerful people out there and organizations. The beginnings of machine takeover. Brass tard. The point isn't public safety, it's take away our most effective war-fighting weapons. That's why they already took the heavy stuff away, like mortars, grenades, machine guns, etc. Yeah, you know, if you look at some of these organizations out there, the organizations that call the right, or whatever you want to, however you want to look at it, the right, conservatives, Trumpsters, whatever. What do? They call us fascists, right? It's always the fascists who are calling other people fascists. Always. That's in their playbook. It's in their playbook. Fascists call others fascists. And they want to take away your voice and take away your ability to fight back. And once they do that, it's game on. That is their two true motivations. Those are the two things, and it's the only two things they need. Once they have taken away the voice and taken away your guns, that's when it starts. You know, when they started taking the guns away from, like this girl that got silenced. It's what's that Star Wars show? I don't keep up on a lot of Star Wars stuff. The Mandalorian. I've never watched an episode of it, but the girl, I guess she's a co-star or main star or whatever, but she posted a comment on Twitter about the Jews during World War II and what happened to them, and she was spot on, spot on. She said at the beginning, when Hitler was coming to power, the Nazi Party was coming in, all of that, the Jews thought, well, maybe it's not going to be too bad. They look, they're not doing anything. But once they silenced them and once they took away their weapons, what happened? It was game on, right? And that's their plan. You can read it in several places. It's their plan. And it's happening, guys. Believe it. It's happening. Promise you that. It's just a timeline thing. That's all it is. Look at what they're doing. Look at Canada right now. Justin Trudeau is, they've had their draconian policies for some time now, but now he's adding more to the list. And it's hundreds and hundreds of firearms that Canadians, our brothers to the north, can't have. And how many of them do you see on all these channels where they comment? On my channel, they comment. On friends of mine's channels, they comment, hey, guys, don't let it happen to you. It happened to us. They did it to us. Don't let it happen. You guys are our last shining hope, and they couldn't stop it. They hope we do. Well, we will. I have no doubt about it. Cap and ball revolvers are weapons of war. Yes, they are. I was thinking about that. That's funny you mentioned that, Prestard. I was thinking about that. Yep. Let's ban actual weapons of war, right? Actual weapons of war, because the AR-15 is not an actual weapon of war, so they'll leave that alone. But they should ban the lever action rifle, right? That was a weapon of war. Definite weapon of war. Bolt action, all Mauser action rifles should be banned. Absolutely. Weapon of war, for sure. For sure. Cap and ball revolver, yep. Open top, right? Remington, Colt, whatever. Ban them. Get rid of them. Any black powder musket, get rid of it. Now, gone. Weapon of war. Kentucky long rifle, weapon of war. Get rid of it. I can order that through the mail still, right? Yep. I agree. If we're going by that thought process, absolutely. 1911. Gone, fudster. See ya. Can't have it. Damn 1911s. What else we got here? We should still have identical military weapons as civilians. Yes, that's what I said earlier. Absolutely agree. We should. We should have everything our military has. Why? Because that's what the Second Amendment was put there for. To fight off who? A tyrannical government. Says nothing about hunting. I know everybody says this. Nothing about hunting. But the other part I like to include, because the first thing everybody goes to, the news media, everyone, is they're telling you you won't be able to protect your family anymore. It's not about protecting my family. It's about fighting off a tyrannical government. Hunting the government, right? That's it. Has nothing to do with anything else. Nothing. Forget about protection. Yes, it's nice to be able to protect my family, but it's to protect them against our own government should they become tyrannical. Let's see. I'm just going to actively disobey the law. I hope everyone else does too. It's exactly what I said before. It's going to take mass disobedience. It's going to take massive non-compliance on every level. It's not going to be 20,000 people demonstrating or 500,000 people demonstrating. It's going to take every gun owner out there. Millions of us. When the call comes, we need to drop what we're doing, everything we're doing. Everything goes by the wayside. Job, whatever. Sorry, not coming in today. Period. I got places to be. Not going to be in this week. We're headed for the Capitol. We're headed for the state capitol. We're headed for what a local government, wherever it may be. But we are standing armed and peaceful and showing just the true force of what we embody as a firearm owning populace. and that we stand by our Constitution. That's what it's going to take, guys. And like I said, we try again, right? In a nonviolent manner. When that fails, it's another story. But until then, we try, and we try again. And I think that's the only way to show it. Just true, monstrous numbers out there. Non-compliance. Truck drivers step out of the seat and get out there and protest. That's what it's going to take. What do they say? If we stop trucking for a couple of days, pretty much shuts down the country, right? Maybe that's the key to it. Maybe that's the key to it. I would assume you'd lose them at a minimum. At a minimum, I'm going to guess minimum 60% of your truck drivers are pro 2A. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's more. I bet it's higher probably, but I'll go with 60 for now. I don't know. No, they're all AR-15s. AR-15 doesn't mean semi-auto. You're right. You're correct on that. I guess in the original terms. As it's used today, though, I guess you could kind of argue it that people are wrong so much that it's almost right. You know what I mean? And yes, I know what AR-15 stands for. Let's see. But yet, immunity for the vax jabbers exists. I don't know what you're talking about there. Machaco's J has one. See, it just jumped on me. I lost everything. Damn it. Okay, here we go. An M9 is still a Beretta 92, and an M4 is still an AR-15. I don't own any of those. None of my weapons have ever assaulted anyone. Oh, God, the old jokes, right? You didn't have a boating accident, too, did you? What's the average value on a 67 vintage Remington 700 BDL? I don't know. That's a good question. I have a Remington 700 BDL 30-06 in great shape. You've been looking at my gun safe breast hard? But it's not a 1967. It's my father's gun, and it's got to be about late 70s, early 80s. Beautiful gun, though. Beautiful gun. Got the black cap and the white stripe and the high gloss wood and that just deep, superb, like looking into black oil. The bluing is so beautiful on it. Got a Redfield, original old Redfield 3x9 on it. Still works, but when you look in the glass on it, there must be some brass pieces down in there. Brass tart. There's got to be some brass pieces down inside the scope, and I can see like green corrosion on them. It was really kind of weird, but the scope is not fogged. It's not anything. It works perfectly. I don't know. It's weird, but I had to look at a certain angle way down in, and I happened to see it. Just one of them weird things that happen. But value, God, I don't know. I mean, I would assume a 700, and I assume the older the 700 action, probably the better, the more quality, the better manufactured. Probably would take one of those over a new one, right? I mean, you can always rebarrel it, put a different cocking knob and lever and everything on it, turn it into some type of long distance precision tactical rifle. That'd be pretty cool. But it's just too beautiful to screw mine up. That's all. My dad's. I think he used it on one hunting trip. That was it. I took it out of safe. It probably hadn't been shot in 30 years. Took it out and it was spot on. Rest in peace, Rush. Take care. The one positive note, though, all this is he is not having to deal with the cold anymore. Smart ass. God, I should really have moderators on here, right? To get rid of people like this. Are you kidding me? A man dies and this person wants to say that he went to hell. No, yeah, that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. What a great man. Fabulous man. More caring than the outpouring I heard today, and how caring and how generous this man was behind the scenes. That's a true measure of how generous someone is when they don't take credit for it. And what he did for people that he didn't even know with addictions and all different stuff. Less fortunate people. It's mind-boggling. What a great man. Yeah, that's a great comment there. What a piece of garbage. Has anyone got their hands on the new mini barrel pistol? No. I saw a couple videos start popping up on it. Sure is kind of interesting. I don't know. I want a barrel. I love the rail that goes over the dust cover. I just think that's such a cool thing to have from the factory and all. And I'll have to watch a couple videos on it. That brings me to the point of what I saw at the local gun shop. Stopped in an old haunt down in, I had a doctor's appointment today, and I went down. I was in Rockford, Illinois, and went to a small shop in Rockford. And they used to have all kinds of cool stuff, a lot of ARs. You never knew what you would see in this place. You'd walk in, and it's actually where I bought my first AKs. But, you'd walk in, and they'd have this milsurp or that milsurp or a load of these or a few of those. You never knew what you were going to see there. Could be AKs, could be SKSs, could be whatever, and they'd have them. And it was really well stocked. And a bunch of years went by, and the father that owned the shop turned that over to his son, and he went and ran the same, another shop by the same name down in Missouri. And the son was running the one up here, and he was just a super guy, just really nice. They did the gun show circuit around here, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. And I hadn't been in there in a couple of months, and I'm on Facebook or something, and I see that this kid died. And I'm like, no way. What? He was young, little daughter, everything. So we had they were actually holding a Trump thing there, and it was for a local state representative too. And we went there as part of the my wife belongs to the Women's Republican Organization. We were there supporting this state rep, and the Trump people were there and whatnot, and they held it at this gun shop. So I got to talk to one of the family members, and he said the guy was home alone, and he choked to death on some food. The wife and daughter got home, found him. And it was just one of them crazy things. I knew he was too young to have a heart attack, that kind of thing. And he passed away, and they had nobody really to run the shop. The dad didn't want to come back, nothing. So they had an auction, sold off everything that was in there, and closed it up. And at the last second, I believe it was the brother of the father, said, hey, I'd like to do this. And they did. They got the FFL transferred, all that. But at this point, all the inventory was gone. Everything, down to the walls, I guess. And it was one of these cool old shops. Some of you guys may like these big stores, and they're all modern, and they spent a couple $1 million doing them with all the glass showcases. This was mom and pop, hole in the wall. If you went in the corners, there was a 1/2 inch of dust. There was stuff mounted to the walls that the owner had mounted there 30 years ago, and it was probably no big deal at the time, but now it's kind of interesting and stuff like that. The papers stuck to the wall with a thumbtack that the edges are turning brown and yellow, and every nook and cranny is packed with something. If you want a magazine for some gun that nobody's heard of, if he dug around long enough in the box in the corner, he'd find one kind of place. A back room that you always wondered, what the hell's back there? It's like the catacombs, just love those kind of places. And it was like that. Now everything was gone. So they put out a Facebook post calling on all current, past, and future customers to come out and bring stuff to put on consignment and or anything they wanted to donate to the store. And I believe they put it anything gun-ish or gun-like. And boy, oh boy, did they pour out. And people loved the place, and a lot of people just gave stuff to them to sell for free. And at first, it was a little bit flea market-ish, but some guys really brought in, there was a lot of nice consignment stuff, but some guys were very, very generous. I ended up getting a few ammo cans of original Garand ammo on the strippers in the bandoliers for cheap, all kinds of stuff. So I hadn't been in there in a while, and I figure since I'm down there for a doctor's appointment, I'll stop in. And unfortunately, now they've been hit with the ammo shortage, and guns are in short supply because of what's going on. But he had some stuff. It's much, much better. I had a bunch of ARs, and I didn't even see it. How I missed it, I don't know. But he said he had these blueprints from Arsenal of the different AK variants. They were actual blueprints that he bought from Arsenal, and he was selling them cheap. And I'm over looking at them thinking, man, this is exactly what I want framed for my gun room. Matter of fact, I just ordered some a little different, but they'll be here soon. And then the live stream will be coming to you from my gun room, and you'll see these on the wall. But I'm looking at the Arsenal poster, and he says, well, I got the one gun here. He says that, they're top of the line one. I forget what he said, but it didn't make sense. I knew what he was talking about, but it was like he was calling it a stamped gun, but referring to the milled gun. And I look over, he takes it off the wall, and it's a Sam 7 SF side folder. And I said, oh, damn, I was hoping you had anything but that. I just got one of those, But hey, he had one, which was cool. And he knows this guy's not so much an AK guy, but definitely an AR guy, and had some interesting stuff. And the shop was just kind of coming back. Listen to this. And I almost pulled the trigger on it. He had an FN 5.7. I think those guns are like $1,600 guns, $1,700 guns. I could have bought it for less than $1,000 today. Now it's used, but unfired. I looked it over real well. And the only reason I didn't is, God, I made a good decision with that Ruger, because the controls on that FN are terrible. I guess once I get used to it, it'd be okay. The safety, for one, you're sweeping with your finger up and down, and it's just so small. If I could get an extended one on it, it'd be a lot better. Just everything's in a different spot, and I hate how the gun completely locks up without the mag in it. But if you're going to have a 5.7, kind of the appeal of it to me is the FN part of it. While I believe the Ruger's a better gun overall, not just because I own one, because I could buy you, I could have bought one today, I could have bought a new one. At the end of the day, I think the Ruger runs better because the controls are standard and just easier to anybody pick it up and run it like any other pistol. And that FN's a little different. I was expecting the FN to have more of a quality feel, and it just doesn't because of the polymer on the slide and everything. I thought it would just feel heavier and have more metal in it and everything, being an FN, and it doesn't. I actually think the Ruger is finished as good or better. I have not shot the FN, but That's the other thing, just the bore height and some other stuff. Just I think all in all, side by side, the Ruger's a better gun. I may go back and grab that thing because I could do some side by side testing with it, and I'm pretty sure I could get rid of that thing for more than what I would be paying for it. So we may go do that. We'll see. God, you should see the size of the case those 5.7s come in. I could fit a Scorpion in the case. It's so big. They come with 3 mags. Nice gun. Don't get me wrong. Very nice gun, but I think the Ruger's better. Let's jump back in here. What's the average? Oh, that was the Remington. Rush. What else we got? So Mini Baril. Anybody checked on those? Pretty cool gun, that's for sure. The left are the same people who started wars. The Klan and the restrictions, they've never obeyed anything they say. The only way the tyrant anti-constitutional government bans guns is if the American people do nothing and let them. Thoughts on Jim Fuller's new company, Fuller Phoenix, supposed to come out with some unique old build kits. Really? I have not heard anything about the new company. I mean, it's old news that he sold off the other one, but I thought he was hanging around and kind of doing some consulting and whatnot. But have not heard about the new one. Yeah, the side folder video, the Sam 7. I was actually going to the range today. It was a sunny day. It was warmer. And then I had the doctor thing come up. But if it's anywhere, even if it's not decent, I am getting out Sunday, and we're going to do some shooting. I got to sight in Primary Arms 3x Prism scope on that Sam 5. I want to get that sighted in. And God, I wish I could grab this side folder. It's sitting right here. I'm staring at it. Got it with the OD green furniture. It's really pretty, especially with the Bulgarian green sling. I just need a green Circle 10 waffle mag. And I've been trying to find one, but the cheapest I've seen one was $250, and I'm just not willing to do it. So hopefully I can find one because I think it would just set it off. But I really like that side folding stock. I like the tube stock. It's comfortable. Then again, you're talking to a guy that's comfortable with underfolders. I love underfolders. No problem. I don't have a problem with them. But yeah, the sight picture, everything's perfect with that stock. Problem right now, I'd love to put a red dot on it, I think. Maybe a 1x6, but I hate to take and make it such a heavy gun. But at a minimum, a red dot, and I'd like to find an RS Regulate for it. But they're in short supply right now. I don't mind the Arsenal SM13 mounts, but they do sit higher than the RS Regulate. So I will probably wait for an RS Regulate. That Arsenal is a good choice, though. It's cheap. I don't think I've ever seen them over $150. And they do sit a hair higher, but not terrible. But yeah, I'd like to. I think that'd be a great setup on this gun. Yeah, nice gun. Loving it. So you're going to see that. We'll get that Sam 5 out, sight in that 3x Prism. We'll do some initial shots on this side folder. What else? I got a new 1911 we got to bring you. Got a Rock Island Armory 1911. Gonna take that thing out. Boy, that gun's smooth, guys, for an inexpensive, dirt cheap gun. Yeah, it's growing on me. I've just dry fired it and some other stuff handling it. But I'll tell you what, as far as, moving the action and everything, it's as smooth as my SIG or my Kimber. Just a nice gun for the money. I think it's going to be hard to beat. Beaver Tail's a little weird. We'll go through it. I'm going to get you guys a video on it. Going to do some more testing of ammunition on our Micro 9 pistol. We'll be getting that out there. We're going to do some running some rounds through our 365 XL, our 6-hour 365 XL with the new manual safety I put on it. Put a video out on that. A few of you guys are like, oh, I don't see the point. Why bother? This and that. Doesn't need it. Well, a couple things. One, it doesn't even have the dongle that a Glock has. Not that it makes a huge difference, but that gun is borderline with the flush fit mag. It's borderline small enough to where I can toss it in a pair of cargo shorts or pants or even a pocket. And you just can't do that without a safety unless it's in a little grip pocket holster or something. And the gun's, like I said, it's borderline, might be a little too big without that. To run to the mailbox, I'd like to be able to throw it in my pocket without a holster and not worry about it. So I just like it. That's all. I like it. And I carry my guns always with round in the chamber and cocked. So yeah, need something if I'm going to do that. If I was going to holster carry it all the time, no problem. I'd leave it alone. But what do they say? 90% of accidental discharges happen during reholstering. It's always nice to have a manual safety while reholstering. It's especially the older you get and the fatter you get. You can't quite see everything's going on when you're reholstering. But so it's nice to have that. What else? The ZPAP. We got to get some. Did I even run that ZPAP? No, we haven't shot the ZPAP yet, I don't think. Maybe we did. I don't know. The last couple times out at the range have been just a flurry of shooting and different things. So we got so much to get out there and do. God, it's crazy. Yeah, so 1911, SAM 7 side folder, SAM 5 sight in the new optic, the 3x prism. Bring you a video on that too. This is a second rifle I've put that 3x prism on. I really like it as an all-around scope. I've got it on my NPAP. If you've seen my NPAP project videos, and they're old, guys, it's they're kind of for me to watch, kind of even, but they're good. I go through everything I did. That was my go-to everyday rifle, and I tacked it out with all the stuff that makes it more usable for me. And that 3x scope is really nice. You can still shoot 2-eye open. You can still use it for CQB in a pinch, but yet, and it's nice to have 3 power when you get out there a little bit. And with that ACSS reticle, it's a great choice. So we'll bring you a video on that scope and as well. I'm trying to think what else. There's a few things I'm leaving out here that there's just so much to bring you. But as soon as I'm done with this live stream, I'm going to film just an initial thoughts video on that SAM 7. And then we're going to do a family SAM or a family arsenal video, let's say. Because, man, the family has grown on these arsenals. Let me tell you, I think I have just about everything. I'd love to see any gun content right now, Rock. Most of the big channels turned into the news. And I get it. That's what I said when I talked about this live stream, that, it seems like all I do is talk about 2A stuff lately. But it's so concerning, and there's so much of it out there, and it's such a threat right now that I think all of us are just wanting to make sure we do something, anything, our part, keep it going, get everybody to keep it in the forefront of their minds and hopefully do something to help. So I can't say I blame them on that front. But yeah, you're right. I was thinking the same thing. God, I just want to see some gun content, and I want some AK content. We got 3 new AKs we can just bring you some serious stuff on. So we'll do that. Also going to dive in, take one apart and show you guys everything and what's going on. Might be putting some, I'll probably end up putting some ALG triggers in these like I do everything else, although I don't know that I'll do it on, well, I will do it on the SAMs, I believe. You know, the SAM 7, let me think here. SAM 7 pistol, because it doesn't have to be changed for 922R and all, comes with the factory double hook trigger. And the other SAMs, the rifles that have to be changed, have a single hook. They don't get that nice double hook trigger. So while the trigger is okay, that ALG is just the shit on these things. And like I told you last time, I've been touting the ALGs forever and ever and ever, before anybody even talked about them, AK ALG triggers, and before Rob Ski had them on anybody. I was telling you guys, I've been using these things from almost the minute they hit the shelves, man. I love these AK triggers, and I have them on everything. The ULs are so light, so slick. I got one that I did nothing special, no special fitting or polishing. The UL is their ultimate. That's what it stands for. And it's nickel boron plated and all. And I didn't have to touch that thing. And it's probably sub 2 pounds. And everybody, oh, how do you want to trigger that light and this and that? It's called trigger control, guys. Get some. And yes, it'll double once in a while, no matter how good you are. But, oh, well, who cares? You know, guns on target at that point at that trigger so fast anyways. But it's such a great trigger. And you can raise it with a little spring they put on it. And this particular one, every AK is a little different. So you'll get some variance in pin distance, which can affect the reset length, the length of reset on them and whatnot. So sometimes I have to make a little changes to the geometry a bit, but this one is just perfect. And God, the gun's so fast. If you can get your hands on the UL and you like a light trigger, I'd do the UL. If you like a little heavier trigger, stay with the EL. That'll be perfect for you. Those can be super light too. Super light. It depends upon, I don't know. You can put two triggers or put the same trigger in 2 or 3 different guns, and it's going to be different in each gun. It's just how AKs are. There can be slight differences that change the feel and the pull and everything else. So, but I definitely recommend them. Let's see. The only thing that the POTUS can legally do is ban imports by executive action, but Congress can do it. I believe, feel the fire. Yeah. I definitely think he's going to do an import ban. Definitely feel that way. I want your guys' opinion on one thing. I've been scouring the internet. Want to add a gun to the collection, and I want it to be special, and I want it to be an import rifle. Could be pistol configuration with a brace, I guess. But think about it. Special, somewhere, let's say up to $3,500. $1 to $3,500, let's say. And the videos you've seen I put out, the things I have, what would you add to the collection that could go away with an executive order? Because I want to grab something, and I don't know. There's so many nice things out there. I don't know what it should be. What are your guys' thoughts? If you could buy any import rifle that I don't have already, that you've not seen in a video of mine, or throw your idea out there, whatever, we'll see what comes up. But what would you add? Like God, I wish I had that thing, or I better grab it. They're going away. Oh, I got to have one of these or my collection isn't complete. I've been thinking a Tavor, but Tavor's, I know IWI ships the parts here. I think they're assembled here. So I don't think that'll fall under an import ban. It might, because they might ban the parts, right? But yeah, put in the comments here what you guys think. What rifle would you love to see, import rifle, come to my channel that can be added to the collection and do videos on and all that? What would you like to see? Put it down there. Anybody, or are you all typing? Holy cow. By the way, how's the internet? How's the picture? Is it much better with this new Starlink? It's blazing, guys. I had upload speeds before of literally, you're going to laugh, 0.2, 0.3 maybe. And now I'm like 36 or 56 upload, something like that. And I'm like 200 and something download. It's crazy. It is beta testing, so it gets good, it gets bad. It goes out once in a while, but Oh, definitely AK content. But what rifle should I add to the collection? Come on, somebody's got to have some ideas. There's 20 of you in here or something. Somebody's got to have an idea of what I should add, what you'd like to see. Something. I mean, purchase that we're going to add to the collection. Throw it out there. Tavor, a Galil. Well, I don't know if... I think all the Galils out there now are put together here. Another Scorpion. Although CZ bought Colt, right, guys? And that may be a play. Maybe they sense the import ban coming, and that may be a play to get them into the States and can build whatever they want here and not be considered an import. How about one of the other CZ rifles? That's a thought, too. I've also seen these new Spanish set-me's that are out there. And I saw a really kind of cool, supposedly rare one with a side-folding stock. What does anybody know about those? I don't know much about them. Mini Draco. I got a Mini Draco. Oh, Micro Draco. Micro. Yeah, that Micro is just the reason I bought the Mini Draco to begin with is the Micro was just too damn small. At the time, nobody made a handguard for the damn thing that you could mount anything to. I don't think you can fit. There's not a red dot made that'll fit on any handguard or gas tube cover for that little thing. So my thought would be to mount it with one of the mounts that mounts in replacement of the sight leaf. So that's a thought. But God, that Micro is so tiny. Velmet. Well, any Velmet I'm buying would be on the secondary market. So, because there's none coming in now. So it'd have to be a new gun. New rifle. Nobody with an idea. All right. Are we going to wake up to an executive order and addressing what? I think you're going to wake up one morning to an executive order regarding import weapons and ammunition. Absolutely, I do. Could be wrong. A lot of people now are saying that he's not going to do any executive orders regarding firearms because they can be overturned by the next incoming president should he want. They are saying that they're just going to pass the laws. They got both houses. Why not? So that's just some kind of internet banter I've heard, and I could see that. If we wanted to pass some pro Second Amendment thing, I wouldn't want it done by executive order. I'd want it passed through and done law. That can't be so easily overturned. Micah, mini barrel. God, I'd almost want though. the full size, the rifle barrel if I was doing that, but maybe. And then there's where do I get my hands on one? I guess Gunbroker, right? If I had to, worst case scenario. I haven't seen much on it. I'm going to have to check it out. Micah, what do you know about those Spanish setmes that are coming in? They're all over the place right now. They look like a quality piece, and there was one that was a side folder. Let me see if I can find the one I was talking about. And I'll tell you at least what the name is. Give me 1 second here. At first I blew by him thinking, it's just another, set me some concoction like a sentry gun or something. But the more I looked at them, the nicer they looked. And why is my internet crawling right now? My God. Hopefully it'll pop here in a second, guys. So I've been looking at everything from Tavor's, maybe some other Arsenal stuff. I was thinking about a UR Arsenal. I think they're URs or ULs. I've been thinking about an Ace, a Galil Ace, maybe. Marcolmar Firearm Setme. LC Gen 2 in 5.56 with a side folder. What are these Marcol? It's MARCOLMAR. Marcolmar. Don't know anything about them. Here's another one I was thinking about, guys. Maybe a PSL. I don't have a PSL, and I was thinking one of the most recent imports coming in. Or, believe it or not, guys, Benelli's would be subject to any import ban. We could lose Benelli. So I was thinking about one of the M4s with Benelli shotgun with the lengthened tube, the collapsible stock, and the LE version, the model 11721, the expensive one. They go between $3,000 and $4,000, but I have a hard time forking out that kind of cash for any shotgun. But if I was, that'd be kind of cool to have. There's not a ton of them out there. And right now with the things the way they are, they're going for crazy money, $3,500, $4,000. I don't know. But Joe Morgan, Marcolmars are nice. They are. Setme is cool. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. What say ye, Micah? What do you know about those? If anybody knows, Michael will know on that one. I got a feeling. But definitely an Ace rifle or pistol. And then do you do a 7.62? Do you do a 5.56? Do you do a 308? I don't know. 308 pistol. Man, holy Christ, that might be the way to go. A Daewoo K2. Yeah, kind of that's the combo. Half AR, half AK, right? Kind of a rare bird. What else could be? That's secondary market too, though. I'm talking about something that goes away in case of an import ban. And, that other stuff. Secondary market's going to be around. It's just then a matter of pricing. I guess prices will go through the roof if there's no more import ban or there are no more imports. Just about anything imported will go up, especially anything currently available that is then subject to an import ban. The price will shoot up. As far as guns that are already banned, Chinese AKs, Vepers, stuff like that, does the price remain the same? I got a feeling it would. I think they might go up. They spike up in general across the board, but how much higher AK, like Chinese gun's going to go. I don't know. Not a huge Chinese gun fan. I guess somebody mentioned a Polytech. I can't say I didn't look at a couple Polytechs the last couple of days. I don't own one. I'd like to have a Legend maybe. To me, the Legend isn't so legendary. I don't know. Let's see. Scorpion. Got a couple of them. I love the Scorpions. I don't have a carbine, but I don't know. I don't see, other than a little more velocity, I don't know. Maybe a carbine would be nice. Zastava, maybe a pistol. Zastava pistol would be nice as opposed to a Micro Draco. I don't have a Zastava pistol. That might be nice. That's a good thought. PSL just keeps kind of nagging at me. I don't know. Seems like one of those ones you should, any collection should have. And there's that Serbian, what, the M92 is it? God, I could have bought one of those a couple months back for like $2,500. That was kind of a steal looking at what they're going for now. HK. Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about some HKs, but man, they're just over that pricing. You know, the stuff I've been seeing, even at shops. I was at one, and I'm not a big HK fan, so I don't know all the numbers, but I guess the equivalent to the MP5, right? Pistol. They had at a local shop, and it was going for $4,500. And I thought, oh man, yeah. When you say good point about CZ, you mean with the Colt thing? Now, Colt, you can. Is it a manufacturing company or is it a brand? I mean, it's definitely a brand either way, but how much of their manufacturing is still left? Yeah, they're producing ARs, but are they still building all the parts? There's some talk that they're not, and I'm sure there were always other third-party suppliers, but how many of the parts in a Colt AR are true Colt right now? Do they even I guess they're producing 1911 still. They're producing Pythons, revolvers. I don't know that. I think everything you see in Colt single actions is probably new old stock at best. Yeah, the SP5. That's what I meant. I can't keep all this stuff. I'm not. I've never been a specification guy. And I realize that's the model. Yes, but that's what I meant. Just the price point on those seem to be just over. I don't know. And I doubt there's no deals to be had, obviously. So what did I find out when I was at this local shop? Well, most of what he had was used, had quite a few Tauruses there for you Taurus fans out there. And I was looking for a G3. I would have grabbed one had he had one. 26. Yeah, I know. And that's when God, I hate you. 2,500. God, I was stupid, but there were other things to buy. It's always something else to buy, and you can't have it all, guys. You got to buy what you like, what's important to you at the time, I guess, or the direction you're going at the moment. And sometimes it works out good, sometimes it works out bad, like the Scorpion thing. I got in that at the right time when they were still cheap and you could get them, and I got some cool stuff, and I really enjoy those pistols. I'm a Taurus fan. 2A, you helped me make one. Yeah, wasn't that the coolest thing? I remember watching the first video he did. And guys, if you didn't see it, when he bought that gun, he was literally trying to prove how shitty it was. He didn't come out and say that, but I pretty sure he was thinking it wasn't gonna work out all that great. Let's just say. I don't think he hoped for it to be bad, but I think he just wanted to, find out the truth. And I pleasantly surprised. And I don't know what's so, tourists get such a bad rap because, hey, a lot of what they produce is on, for instance, some of it old Beretta tooling, that they got the tooling from Beretta. So how bad could it be, as far as, I guess craftsmanship or how it's put together or whatever, but I have not run into a problem with the Taurus. I have not. They make nice revolvers. I got a long barrel. I want to say a long barrel single action, a Taurus single action in 357 mag that has held up extraordinarily well. At least, if not better than a similar Vaquero, Ruger Vaquero. They get a bad rap for not all that many issues. They've put out some decent 1911s, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, the big problem is now I want the HK SP5K. Yes, absolutely, and that's probably what I would want too. The K. Yep. Cool. And now that you can have an HK, the other lookalikes, while that's probably seemed cooler to me at the time, don't seem quite as cool anymore, right? Because if you really want to, you can get your hands on the real thing. TX22 competition looks good. That TX22, I think I talked about it. My buddy at work has one, and he just can't say enough about that gun. He loves it and says he hasn't had one single issue with it. What do you think of the Smith & Wesson Governor? There's very little that Smith & Wesson puts out that you can speak poorly of. They just do and always have done a great job. Now, would I own a Governor? Not because of quality issues or value issues or anything like that. Just the platform itself, probably not. For the same reason I don't know. Maybe I would. I couldn't rule it out. It'd be one of those guns you'd buy, you'd mess around with for a little bit, and then I don't know. Are you talking about carry, home protection? What are you talking about? Let's see. Joe Morgan, I could make a headshot on a silhouette at 25 yards with a G2C, 10 out of 10, rapid double. So you're doing great if you're doing that. Absolutely. That G2 and that G3 are impressive. Very, very impressive. How do you beat it for the money? I don't know that you do. Talked about last week, family member wanting a new pistol for concealed carry, and I steered them in the direction of the SIG 365 XL. Little update on that. Found him the gun, got it shipped to his local FFL, picked it up, got it for a birthday present. His wife surprised him, and he is in love. And she is ready to go take some safety classes and do some little practice with it. Going to be able to go down there and do some training, some safety training, some basics, and do a pistol class for them in a couple of weeks. And I'm hoping to film it if they'll agree. I'm hoping to get some video on it and do some safety stuff and a video with a little female perspective to it. Be my sister-in-law, and maybe I could even get my wife to be in the video. I don't know if she'll agree or not, but we'll see. I think my sister-in-law will, but it'll be fun. I've wanted to do some safety videos. I've wanted to do some stuff in regards to having some women and their outlook and thoughts on it all, and how they see the industry, the government, the laws, the everything, just how they feel about firearms in general. I've got it's grown. It went from, like 1% of my viewers being female to 3%. And I've seen it as high at times at 7%. And I had one lady complain to me, sent me a comment saying that she was no longer going to watch the channel because I started every video with, "Hey guys, what's happening?" So if you've noticed, I've tried to say, "Hey guys and gals," So don't think we're excluding any of you ladies that stop in here. We're not. I'd love to have more of you in here. And you're a huge part of it. And I truly believe that there's certain segments or demographics that are coming into the firearm hobby and that we need to hear more from. And I think they almost they substantiate the whole thing a little more, whether it's females or young people, whatever. It just, they add some credibility to it, Unfortunately, I think gun owners in general are stereotyped into being, knuckle dragging, hillbilly, beer guzzling, God's guns, Bible, that kind of stuff. That's truly how I think the left and a lot of liberals see us. They don't see us as the educated people we are. They don't see us as high functioning contributors to society. You know what I mean? They don't see us as small business owners and all of that. They have a stereotype of us, and I think the more we can change that demographic a bit to include women and just make it more diverse, the more it just raises that level. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a great thing, actually. And what I found in talking to the women I have is that they don't dislike guns. They see the good in them, but they know they shouldn't be scared, but they are. More so from the standpoint of it's just this unknown. They don't have the knowledge, and gaining the knowledge, they feel there's a barrier there, whether it's, it's just so different from the normal road they travel down every day. It's just seems so different to them. They don't know how to even go about entering that world. So if we can show them that, hey, it's no different than walking into a department store. You walk in a gun shop and, maybe before you do, you get a little knowledge, a little education, do your research, and so you can speak at the most minimal level of intelligence on firearms. That it's like anything else. It's like buying anything else. Hey, look at how it used to be for a woman walking in to buy a car, right? yeah, how salesmen would treat them in the past. I lived that. I saw it. I saw how these idiots would talk to them. And we had to do a lot of training for that. Well, unfortunately, in the gun industry, they don't just do it to women; they do it to men who they feel are not up to their level too. It's I don't know what it is about gun shops. Sometimes, not all of them. There's some great gun shops out there, but yeah, I could see how it could be very intimidating for a woman to walk into our world and the gun world and not get very far and just be disenfranchised with the whole thing before they even got started. So it'd be nice to do some videos on that. It's going to be fun. And I want to get their real true perspective on it. So maybe some, and I'm not saying industry guys don't get it. They do. I'm just saying just to get it out there and see how they really feel. I think there's more out there than is on the surface. So anyhow, enough of that. What else we got here? People think they are trash. I'm not convinced. They're not trash. Taurus makes a lot of nice stuff. That little Taurus Spectrum, they had one there today, $165. Used, unfired again, not a round through this thing. It was brand new in the box. They're taking in a lot of interesting trades. He had an upper, I can't remember what brand, but it was purchased, I think, at Camp Perry. Had an upper for sale that was kind of interesting and cheap. I couldn't believe how cheap on that FN 57. That I may have to go look at again. I don't know. I may not end up keeping it, but like I said, it might be good for videos. Let's see. Look up someone named Tactical Girlfriend on YouTube. It's the future. Okay. By the end of 2021, but I don't believe it. I don't know what he's talking about there. So no other ideas for what to get and test, huh? I think what hits the top of my mark is a Tavor, maybe an Ace, maybe a Baril. What else? Maybe an HK. Although, man, that's a lot of money. I get a little spooky up in those realms, But yeah, that's out there. Any other recommendations you can throw out there, let me know. Did the NRA relocate to Texas yet? No, they have not. They are, I don't know if you'd call it discovery or what, but they're filing for bankruptcy, and they're not filing for bankruptcy, guys, because they're broke. They're filing to get out of the state of New York. Somehow legally, I guess it helps them because they were formed there and all of that. It helps get them out, I guess. But over on the Guns and Gadgets channel, he was talking about kind of how despicable it was for the NRA to file bankruptcy when they had this list of assets that was, in his opinion, astronomical. And he talked about them having 71 vehicles listed. They had spent $80,000 on a statue of Charlton Heston and $15,000 on a portrait of Charlton Heston. And one attorney, I believe their head outside legal firm, got written a check for $12 million, I guess, to cover, I don't know what it was, like October, November, December, something like that. And he asked for opinions on whether people thought some of these assets and bills and whatnot were outlandish. And I kind of thought, probably people's initial thought and what they would write back to him would be, oh, yeah, look at the craziness, right, with the money they're spending. But guys, if you have a small business or a medium-sized business, maybe more so, or large, I know it's kind of an oxymoron, right? Large, small business. Even the smallest of businesses, you know how quickly money goes. Cash flow is everything. And you can see all these checks come in and they go out even faster. They're in most cases, they're gone already. They're spoken for before you even get them out of the mailbox, right? You're hoping, please God, let there be checks today, kind of thing. And it's nothing for when they say 71 automobiles for vehicles for a company the size of the NRA. Well, think about the size of that organization and where they're involved. They're involved in 50 states, right? They probably have education programs and training programs and different events and public things going on in every state, right? So if you think, well, there's one vehicle per state to get people and things around that state for events, and then maybe a couple semi trucks for hauling their displays to all the different shows and their convention and all this other stuff, and then a few cars for that's what it was. The one he said, I think it was CFO maybe, had a Range Rover. Well, so what? So what? I mean, every company, the executives get. I don't know any companies that the executives don't get cars. In my business, off the top of my head, 10 vehicles for management. I've got a parts van. I've got 2 shuttles vans. I've got, that's what, 15 right off the top of my head. My car, there's company vehicles. It just is what it is. 71 for a company that large. And keep in mind, guys, the NRA encompasses so many things under its umbrella. And yes, I know there probably or could be separate organizations or companies, but it would be easy to see that many vehicles. I mean, there's NRA insurance, there's all these different companies out there. Think what it takes. Think about what you personally get in the mail probably from the NRA. Think about every time you buy a gun and you open the box or carton, what's inside? There's always a little mailer from them or advertising piece to join, right? Well, they'll take off so much money or whatever. Think about the stuff they send you as little gifts, pocket knives and gym bags and all this stuff. I mean, a small company, give you an idea. Average new car dealer probably spends on a small end, $30,000 a month, on an average end, $60,000 a month in advertising, right? And that's nothing. That's nothing. I know car dealers that spend a lot more than that. Think about what the bill for advertising and stuff is for the NRA. It's got to be insane. Lawyer bills, $12 million for a quarter. That's one firm. They probably have 100 firms that do work for them. And I would guess the NRA at any given time throughout any year is involved in hundreds of suits at the same time, whether that be them, fighting different things, 2A things, or a workman's comp suit for an employee, or or them overlooking or looking at documents they're going to put out, or employee handbooks, or whatever the case may be. The legal bills have to be an absolute fortune. Insurance and building maintenance and on and on and on and on. A portrait of Charlton Heston, quite possibly the most famous face of the NRA, right? The guy who did the From My Cold Dead Hands, right? Well, that's become a branding thing. That's become a mascot almost. It's a portrait of a company's president, particularly that one with that one saying. worth 15,000. That sounds kind of cheap to me. A statue for 80,000. That's iconic. That picture of him with his arm up and everything. Not that out of line when you consider that may be a week's worth of toilet paper for the company. I don't know. I'm just saying it doesn't sound that out of whack. Now, I'm not saying that it's its executives are squeaky clean or not guilty or anything like that. I don't know. They may be guilty, they may not be. I don't know. I'm not speaking to that. I'm just speaking as to the expenses of a company like that, of that size, lobbying, on and on. So I don't think those things were that far out of line. People haters like to hate, like they say, right? So while they may have done some things wrong, well, that they have to answer for in court. But those type of everyday bills and assets to me are nothing. Their assets are probably monstrous. I hope they are. I think any company's assets should be huge, right? Especially one that's hopefully fighting for us. I would hope they've got the wherewithal to keep on going, and that means assets, right? Everybody thinks that the NRA has laid down over the last couple of months. I don't know what they've done, but I can probably assure you that they're still moving forward, regardless of what anyone thinks. They're still the largest big dog on the block, so to speak. Are they doing it right? Could they do it better? Sure, absolutely. Are they doing it right now? I don't know. Probably not, because of what's went on. But hey, as members of this organization, it's our company, right? If you're a member of this organization, you are part of that company. So it's our job to change it. What do you think the convention's for? They vote on the boards and everything else. So like anything else, if you want to change it, get involved. Are there other good organizations out there? Absolutely. Could they be better to support right now? Maybe. Even probably in some cases. But I don't think we should rule any of them out right now. We need all the help we can get. It's like I spoke about earlier, about coming together. We would like to argue about whether or not, and here I go doing it because someone answered a question. I shouldn't even be talking about this. I got sucked in. We shouldn't be arguing or talking about it. It should be a non-issue. It should be us talking about the important issues right now. So there, I got sucked in. There, prime example of what I said not to do earlier, right? Although we weren't arguing about it. I was just speaking about it. But my thoughts, that's all. We need all the help we can get from all sides. Partially why, hey, we need more women. We need more everything. And we all need to come together as a group and show that solidarity, right? Does anyone else remember that disgusting video from Jim Carrey did a few years back about Charlton Heston and the NRA? I do seem to remember something about that. If my memory were refreshed, it might hit home, but I do remember seeing something a little whacked out. What else? The NRA didn't rob us. The NRA didn't rob us. Its executives robbed us. So you can't throw the baby out with the wash water kind of thing, bathwater. The NRA, while it may be in a bad position right now, it can come back, and it should come back and stronger. And we need to support it. Yeah, you don't have to support the bad folks. We just need to make that change. Let's see. Number one, Big Bear. I was talking about another channel that said with all the vaccinations that people will relax and will be selling their guns and will be a glut of used on the market and ammunition for everyone. I do believe you'll see a glut of used firearms eventually. I think I'm seeing more guns already. It was getting down to the point where, God, even manufacturers that you never heard of, this junk uh, coming in from God knows where, you were seeing, all of a sudden they'd be loaded up on that. And you're like, man, they couldn't sell those 6 months ago to save their lives, right? Now you're seeing them everywhere. In talking with the owner of this gun shop today, he is about, let me think here, 20 days out, I think he said. He said 9 is already loosening up. That's what he said, that he's able to get some orders in, and 20 days he's got, it's going to even get better. I think he said 20 days to the distributor. He was talking with his distributor. So let's say, I think you'll see, don't expect the shelves to be filled. I'm not saying that, but you'll see a market change in, some stuff coming back. I'm going to say 30 to 45 days, somewhere in there. You'll start seeing more stuff. I don't know that it's going to start building on the shelves yet, but maybe. He seemed pretty happy about it. And that's word from his distributors. So he had, what did he have on the shelves? He had a bunch of 6.5 Grendel that was steel case Wolf. He had Red Army Standard 7.62. Get this, 20 round boxes for $16 a box. God. He had 5.56 in little bags of 20 rounds, and I don't even know what kind it was. Those were like, I don't even know if he had a price on them. What else did he have? He had some shotgun shells, some 410, 20 gauge and 12 gauge, birdshot, different stuff. Wasn't marked too bad. A lot of P mags. Had some Lancer mags. Few barrels. Not, parts are getting harder to find for ARs, right? Barrels were a little bit are quite thin. He had a few barrels there. What else? Ammo wise, had some 45 bullets for reloading. I think a 500 round box of them. Not too hard to get right now. You can find them. What else? That was about it on the ammo department. It was very, very light. But he said he is getting it in batches. It just comes out. It goes out as fast as it comes in. So, but he expects it to get better. Let's see. I got $12 Tula 223 last week. Steel case Tula, $12. Man, that's what, 50, 60 bucks, 100. Man, $600, 1,000 for steel case. Man, oh man. And it's not that it's steel case. I don't mind steel case. It's just expensive. Should be able to find brass for damn near that. I'm seeing more steel case. That's why I think they're going to go after. Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. And that would be, guys, that would be a bigger hit than the guns. It really would be. If we lose imported Russian ammo, my God. I mean, okay, for AR guys, maybe not so much. But for AK guys, and even guys, pistol, I love shooting 9mm steel case. For those of you that think it's so terrible and it destroys your guns, it's just not the case. It's, by time you take a steel case versus brass, and what people don't understand is that case, that steel is annealed. So annealing is a process of heating, cooling, that that softens it, right? I mean, here's a brass empty case. Miss YouTube, empty case. Yeah, is it softer? Yes, but steel isn't that much harder, and it's certainly way softer than the tool steel in your firearm. Could you possibly wear an extractor faster? Maybe. Um, it's just, could you wear a chamber? I doubt it. I mean, I just don't see it. There's guys out there that say, I did the testing and bimetal bullets wore my rifling out in 2,000 rounds. Well, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, I call bullshit. I just call bullshit on it. Look at the AKs. I've shot tens of thousands of rounds, and the rifle and the gun is at the same MOA as it was when I bought it, and it hasn't loosened up at all. It's just not the case. Not the case. And to think about it, the AK guys don't worry about shooting it, right? It's AR guys, other rifles that worry about shooting it. If it's an AR, why worry? What do you care? You change out the barrel in 5 minutes. Who cares at all? It doesn't matter. Barrels are inexpensive and easy to change on an AR. It's not even a concern. 9mm steel case, I run it in everything. My Scorpions run better on steel case than they do on brass. That's a fact, 100% fact. They run better. I don't have a problem with steel case at all. Doesn't scare me running it in anything I own. So I don't know. There's that. Let's see. I can't afford 6.5 Grendel anywhere around me. Got lucky and found some on a website, but other than that, I've been dried out unless I pay 10 times what it normally is on some websites. That's the problem, and that's the argument for, I don't know if you want to call them non-conventional rounds or unpopular calibers, all of a sudden 40, my first pistol I bought getting back into guns was a 40 cal Springfield Armory XDM. And I had to have 40 because that's what was hot, And 10 years later, I don't want my 40 anymore. I sold it. And it's a shame. It had very few rounds to it. And now with this ammo panic, I really had wished I hadn't sold it. Now, it was a XDM that I paid, I think, $500 brand new for. And I got $700 for it 12 years later. And I sold a 200 round brick of ammo, federal brass, that cost me next to nothing. I think I got an extra 200 for that. I don't know. So 900 for the whole package. That's, God, 10 years later. Think about it. But I wish I had that gun back. I hated it because the trigger sucked. It was mushy, terrible. But wish I had it. Should have stuck to my guns. I love my motto of never selling a gun. But I didn't, and it went away. And now would I buy another 40? I doubt it. I'd probably buy a 10mm before I bought that. Ammo is hard to get, guys, everywhere. My most commented on video is my ammo video, the one a couple months ago. And boy, I was kind of teaching or telling everybody some tips on how to find it. And that was the God's honest truth, and it worked. If you watch that video, I got all that ammo in a week. It was easy, and other parts of the country at that time, it was not. Well, those horror stories I heard about the rest of the country have caught up to here. And there's nothing. Nothing. I haven't bought any ammo in weeks, well over a month. There's nothing to buy. I've looked for some reloading components. I did manage I think I had bought some of these back then, and then they were out, and I found some more. I bought these. These are Hornady 9mm XTP self-defense rounds. Not rounds, but the bullet for reloading. 124 grain XTP, and I had bought a couple hundred of them, and walked in the other day, and there were some more there. And so I grabbed another 100. And glad I did, because bullets are hard to find right now, especially hollow points. Hollow points, there's not a ton of them around in the good times, but it's such a nice bullet. It's 124 grains, beautiful, nice hollow point. If you can see that, hopefully it's focusing. And yeah, so right now, these are especially nice to have because find, steel case or brass case full metal jacket practice rounds out there. There's not that many self-defense rounds at any store anywhere. So now, and if it is, it's crazy expensive, right? It's expensive to begin with compared to full metal jacket, but to have these now, I just stuck it in a piece of brass to reload some self-defense rounds. I can make up a few hundred for me and my friend that got that new 365, and he can have some self-defense rounds, which he doesn't have right now. I happen to use those critical duty is what I run in my carry guns. They have the red polymer in the tip. Love those rounds. So we're going to make some of our own here. And yeah, always nice to have a few hundred, right? I want to do some testing too and see how hollow points run in the Scorpions, because that's certainly a self-defense gun, right? Or at least that's how I will use it. Let's check the comments here. Joel, I meant up here. I didn't mean the members rack. No, I know you didn't. $12 Tula. We talked about that. Can't find that. Bought 2 boxes. I'm not a high roller. I've also seen PMC for the same. PMC would be nice. Nothing wrong with PMC. It's Korean, right? Never used anything other than steel case in the SKS. Good man. Yeah. I'm going to run for in that SAM 5. I'm going to run nothing but steel case in that gun. I mean, I'll run some brass in there, but it destroys my brass. That gun is overgassed a little bit, and when they're cranking out of there, it dents it. I'm shooting steel to practice keeping the good green tips and the 193 in mags for defense. Just do yourself a favor and make sure you sight it in with that 193 or green tip, whatever you're going to use, because you'll see a big difference between steel case 5.56 and say 193. 193 is some hot stuff, boy. Wait till you see the fireballs it blows out of this SAM 5. My God, never seen a round throw bigger fireballs than that. We're finishing up here. Just be a couple minutes. I'm going to run through the chat here because we've been on over 2 hours. And I'll let you guys get back to your evenings here. But I'll touch on one more thing about Rush before we go. And that'll be it till next week. Let's see what everybody's finding for ammo here. A lot of good ammo comments. Yeah, I can walk in any store locally and find 40. See, we're not even seeing 40 here anymore. For a while, that and 32 was all on the shelf, and now we're not even seeing 40. So be nice to see that come back even. But 40 was, for as much bitching as people did, 40 is still a popular caliber, and there's a lot of guys out there with 40 caliber guns. I'm finding ammo I need 2 out of 10 stores, 22 long rifle choke point for me. I had a ton of 22, and before it got short, I started buying some so I'd have enough, and it's not an issue for me yet. See, I see hollow points, but no ball ammo. Yeah, we're seeing neither now. I'm seeing this as well, Joe. Store critical duty or hollows. Yeah, and they're getting crazy money, though, for it, right? Well, they get crazy money for everything. 38's good fine. Guy at the gun shop told me he would pay $40 for a box, $40 to $45 for a box of 38 special to anybody that had any. And he said he would still sell it for a good, solid profit. That's crazy, huh? All right. Well, I don't know how many folks are still here and listening, but just wanted to go and touch on Biden stuff. That assault weapon ban, guys, they want it. It's certainly going to go through the House. The only way to really stop it would be filibustering the thing or swaying a few Dems over. Other than that, man, I'd love to think, how can it be? How could they pass something with that many ARs out there? Do you have any idea how many ARs are out there in this country today? It's obscene. How many households have 2, 3, 5, 10 ARs? Some people may seem, my 10, what would you need that for? Because there's that many variants, different calibers, different this, different that, different, how many shooters in a household, that's nothing. That's nothing. And you think, well, how could they pass something with them being that popular? I don't know. Maybe they can't. Maybe it won't go through. At the end of the day, I don't know that you'll see it pass. You're certainly going to see it come through, but we have to be vigilant. The stuff they call, if you guys get a chance, read through the law and just look how they describe different parts and features of their so-called assault weapons and weapons of war, and explain to people, how they prey. Show me examples of how they prey on emotion. Right? It's always when people are emotional, it's a quick, easy thing to come up with a solution and pass it, but in the long term, it's a bad idea. That's why they always take full advantage of a crisis, and they admit it. So just know and educate people around you, what they're doing. Point those things out. Point out the talking point that they jump on, that every station jumps on. Weapon of war. And, the kids, Sandy Hook, all this stuff. They always have to refer back to the children. It has nothing to do with guns. We don't have a gun epidemic. Matter of fact, and go one step further. If you want to say we do, but we don't. We're down from 16% in 1974 to 12% today, right? Per 100,000. That's nothing. Then we take out the 65 to 70% of all gun fatalities are suicides, and the other 30% are 80% of those are gang and drug related. It leaves next to nothing. Now, take a look at FBI statistics on how many of that 20% of the 30%. So, what is that? Nothing. Are actually committed using what they call a weapon of war, an assault rifle, or what we commonly refer to as an AR-15, right? A civilian sporting rifle. The statistics are so low that they don't even put a number to it, meaning it's less than 1%. It's like 0.00001 are committed. The number is so low. The number of shootings, killings, fatalities using an AR-15 are uncountable. They are so low. They can't even show them as a statistic. Now, if they were serious about saving people, if they were serious about keeping people safe, they would ban handguns, right? Because 99.9999999% of murders are committed with handguns. So you want to be serious? Ban handguns. That's what you should do. But they're not serious. It's not about banning guns. It's about taking them away. It's about the control. It's about that being the second step to then being able to do whatever they want, right? Because once you take away the free speech and once you take away our ability to defend ourselves, that's when the true tyranny takes place. Just remember that, guys. Remember that. Do I want them to take away pistols? Absolutely not. I'm just pointing out the fact that if they were serious about it, that's what they would go after, but they won't. They won't. They'll make it a magazine thing and a weapon of war thing and a black rifle thing and, the one lady, have you ever picked up one of those rifles? It weighs like it's just a huge load of packages I carry. Like you can't even. What? An AR, right? One hand, two fingers. It weighs nothing. Come on. They're just absurd. Everything is done on emotion and living in that moment to satiate that fear that they have. That's all it is. That's all it is. And it's, for one point, disarming the American public. We can't let it happen. Thanks, guys, for tuning in tonight. Look forward to that Sam video, just first thoughts on the side folder. And I'll do another one tonight, too, and we'll get them out this week. And I promise, we're going to get to the range this week, and I will have some shooting videos, some 8K videos for you. So let's enjoy it. And you're going to like this 1911. It's affordable to anybody, and it's a quality piece for the money. So look forward to all that. Thanks for everything you do, guys. Please, such a small percentage when I look at the numbers, actually subscribe to the channel. Go down and subscribe so you get the notifications on this. Maybe next week, guys, throw in some of those super stickers and super chats and stuff. The money comes back at you through the channel. We use it for the channel, period. It doesn't go anywhere else. Any of the money comes in from YouTube, comes in from you guys. Everything goes to support the channel. We're going to get some stickers made up and some patches, and look forward to those soon. I'm looking forward to the patch. I'm trying to come up with a logo for Rockford Ordnance. And if you guys have any ideas, throw them in the comments or send them to me. Looking for that. I'm going to get some made up, and we'll get some out to our fans here. But yeah, keep us in mind. Thanks for everything you do, guys. Make sure you go down, like the video. I appreciate it. It really helps the algorithms. If you guys are watching this too on a weekly basis, and you can easily cast it to your TV, the YouTube algorithm looks very highly upon people putting the video to their TV. So if you can do that and it's more fun for you to watch and enjoy, please do that. It helps out the channel a lot. As always, guys, stay safe out there. Stay true. Fight the good fight. Keep up the fight for our rights and get somebody involved into the sport. The more people in our sport, hobby, addiction, whatever you want to call it, the more there are to fight back. And thanks for tuning in, guys. I love all of you. Thanks very much. Have a great night. And as always, Rockford Ordnance out.